Frank. What's the weirdest thing you've ever saw in here?
Let me ask you a question, kid. Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Hey, we gonna party tonight or what?
Yeah, we are gonna party.
Well, where are we gonna party?
I don't know, somewhere.
Hey, we could go to the park.
Oh, no, we can't. The cops said they'd shoot us if we go back to the park. Yeah, and I ain't in no mood to go tonight.
I like death.
Greetings, ghouls, and welcome to Minute 40 of Do You Want to Party? A Movies by Minute podcast for the 1985 groundbreaking horror classic, The Return of the Living Dead. I'm your host, Troy, and joining me for this episode is a person who, upon our first meeting, was the Adrian Vett to my Edward Blake. Yeah, I know, I'm getting confused you every single time I say it. The first time we met was during the viewing of Watchmen.
Right. Sorry, everyone. This is Mitchell. When I heard the name, my mind was like, wait, which Adrian? I'm not a boxer. What's going on here? Wait, no, that's the wrong one. And I was just going through the Rolodex of movie references, and I failed.
Yeah.
I will turn in my comic book.
I was done up as the comedian in the house coat and in his house coat, and Mitch was a comic book accurate version of I can't remember the character's name in his...
Ozymandias.
Ozymandias, right? Yes, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, it was the cheapest and kind of the ugliest cosplay I've ever done now that looking back, because it was literally a piece of broadcloth and I just like a six-year-old cut a hole in it and draped it over myself.
Yeah.
But then I did do a full cardboard mantelpiece around my neck to make it look like the Egyptian gold style. Like that, and like the circlet, I did maintain that, and I think I did bracers. All of cardboard, of course.
Of course.
Peak first cosplay material.
Exactly.
I did not believe in investing in materials at the time. But then several years later, I make my $100-something Jedi robes, and better.
Yeah. All right. So this minute of minute 40 again, like I mentioned earlier, starts with Trash tugging on Casey and ends with raking the ashes. So we have our group of six taking shelter in Suicide's vehicle from the massive sudden downpour. They huddle close together, each of them in their own level of panic. Having earlier expressed the burning sensation on her skin and her request for a non-existent towel, Trash pulls on the material that Casey has wrapped around her waist as a makeshift belt. The two bicker back and forth for a moment for a moment. In the front, Spider aggressively insisting Suicide gets his vehicle started, and Scuzz from the back seat adds to the predicament. Suicide expressing his want to comply. And then Spider, realizing the dire situation, drops an F-bomb. After giving up on her attempt to remove Casey's belt, Trash inquires as to the makeup of the water.
I wonder what's in that rain!
So we then cut to another fantastically framed shot of the overpopulated with Tombstone Cemetery being blanketed with rain. Water pelting off the saturated surfaces of the stones, slate, or marble. Now, obviously, these are all prop sort of things, so it's probably plaster of some sort or some sort of fiberglass, more than likely is what it all is, but the idea being an actual cemetery, it's usually out of one of those three materials. We now see William Stout's Weeping Angel. It's the giant weeping statue that he mentioned a couple of minutes ago in the commentary track, that it was what was designed and built by him. It was the actual Weeping Angel that is leaning over the edge of the crypt that Trash and Spider are sitting in front of when Trash decides to, take off her clothes.
Doctor Who has kind of ruined that sentence because whenever I hear Weeping
Weeping
Angel, I always
Angels?
imagine
Yeah.
standing because I'm like looking at the statue and I'm like, this is brooding Batman on top of a on top of a building pose. It's like
Yeah.
crunched over, or
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, exactly.
Spider-Man even because there's like a famous Spider-Man comic cover of him like
Mm-hmm.
hunched over,
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
like bent over in that kind of position. But no, it is definitely a crying angel. It
Yeah,
100%
exactly. Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, random thought I had. I'm just
No, that's perfectly
expre
fine.
expressing the permanence of Doctor Who,
But yes,
and
exactly. Yes.
yeah,
Having an actual race being referred to as the Weeping Angels in the Doctor Who
uh,
universe, it's kind of hard. Yeah, when you use the phrase Weeping Angel,
yeah, and the
us
whole
in the
concept,
geekverse go to
it's
Doctor Who.
pervasive
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
it is a enemy type in video games now, and that's what they're
Hmm.
still referred to as.
Yes, yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yes, we see it's the surface of this angel being shiny with its wetness. So we then cut back into the crematorium, which we are looking directly at the closed door of the oven, smoke billowing out of the top of the door, crawling up the brick wall. Off to one side, Bert observes the fire from within the door, running his hands once more through his hair. The camera pulls in towards the oven till the door itself fills the shot. At another portion of the room, Ernie gazes out the iron bar covered windows through the decorative X pattern of the frame. Almost sullen, he remarks about the style of which the rain is cascading.
Look at it. It's coming down like einen Betrunken Soldat.
Now, his face being lit up from several lightning strikes, literally translating what he says as drunken soldier. Another shot of gallons of water falling from above, bursting free of dark clouds. On the ground, the unkept grass around the base of tombstones being saturated, the camera begins to drop below the surface. Through the ground, the water making its way past roots of the grass and packed dirt. Water making its way further and further down as the shot continues to drop lower. Tree roots and rocks seen through the dirt as the water continues to find itself deeper within the soul. So deep that a crossfade to another shot is needed and to get to a much deeper area, some 6 feet down. Water again not being slowed by soil and other debris as the camera reveals a wooden surface. We hear the final notes of Francis Haynes' trioxin theme reaching its end. The camera drops further, revealing a coffin where we witness a pair of black dress shoes being dripped on by the rainwater. Back at the crematorium, in the now open oven, Ernie rakes the remaining red burning embers with a literal rake, uh, sending little sparks and red flakes to harmlessly float around. As both men peer into the oven, Bert asks about the situation.
Is that heart gone, Ernie?
Ernie responds positively.
It's all burned up.
And as Bert asks for another validation,
Are you sure?
we end this minute. So we are in the thick of it now.
I like how, sorry?
No, go ahead.
I like how last time I was on, we were confirming and like, it's gonna burn it all. There's not gonna be anything left. I don't want anything left. Oh, there'll be ashes. I don't even want ashes. All right, I'll turn up the heat. And now here I am back
That's
to
right.
see.
You are bookending this sequence. That's
Yeah.
actually that's kind of weird how that works out. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
I don't believe in coincidence. I'm kidding. That was a coincidence
exactly.
on
That
this
was
one.
totally a coincidence.
No, it's just seeing it. I'm like, yeah, it feels just like yesterday we were talking about this and the weasels that
Yeah,
are being thrown
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Even though everyone's in on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love this scene and seeing the rain coming down and knowing what's coming and the future of us knowing that thank God for the Montreal Accord that we're not going to have to be victims of acid rain again. Not to get too political, but
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
thank God for that.
Actually, yeah, in the last minute it was brought up that yes, the timing of the environmental issue, the appropriate timing of the environmental issue that Casey brings up about the not actually saying the word like the commentary
Acid
of
rain.
us not saying actually acid rain, but she mentions the period
What's in that
appropriate
rain?
and yeah, exactly, exactly.
Oh, it was definitely a an acid rain kind of commentary because
Oh,
that
for
was like
sure.
the big fear in the late 80s kind of time. Even in the
Yep.
90s we had
Yeah.
a bit of that. I don't remember when the Montreal Accord was enacted, but it was during that, it was after that is when we
hmm
changed our legislation and
Yeah,
laws and
exactly,
got
exactly.
rid of the emissions that caused it.
hmm
um
I mean, it also goes to, again, cement the time period, the exact time
yes.
period that this movie takes place precisely with, again, we've mentioned the clothing, we've mentioned the
Yep.
music, the environmental concern, because bringing up, like I said, the acid rain is a perfect, sets it in a time that couldn't exist any other time. So
Yeah.
that's why it,
The I did a quick double check in the
okay.
Montreal Protocol, not Accord. Oh, it is Accord. I'm getting both names. Regardless,
Yes.
the specific international agreement we are discussing on this horror movie podcast
hmm
was 1991. So it came after the film. So it was still in the time of, oh God, it's coming down. We're going to be
Yes. Yeah.
entering Mad Max territory. A lot of
hmm
the fear of it.
All right, so over on the commentary track, which involves Dan O'Bannon, who has written and directed this movie, and the production designer of William Stout, both gentlemen are quiet as the scene in the car plays out. But once the shot of the cemetery is shown, Dan O'Bannon points out how there is where he wanted the longer lens that he had mentioned from the previous commentary track from the previous minute. He expresses his disappointment again not having the available equipment. But William Stout points out that by stacking the tombstones, they got a kind of a similar look. Upon the zoom into the oven door, Dan O'Bannon says how nice the shot is and how the smoke was doing some fun things coming out around the door's edge. William Stout points out that the door itself has a sense of character, as it also seems to have its own presence. William Stout also points out that Don Kalfa's German reference. Dan O'Bannon goes on to mention that the camera that dives down below the surface and how it doesn't work technically as he would have liked it, but that you get the idea. Then, when the shoes are revealed, Dan O'Bannon confesses his mistake by making the shoes so shiny, how they should have been scuffed up some more. He then goes on to say how he likes seeing the ashes being scraped. And that's where we end this particular commentary track, matching up with this minute. I also want to point out the fact that technically, when you bury someone, uh, they're pretty much dressed in their best clothing. So I don't know why he would think that the shoes would be scuffed up while a non-moving corpse is in a coffin buried 6 feet underground. I don't understand why he would.
Maybe maybe he didn't scuffed wasn't the correct word. That was just the one that came to mind. Maybe he thought the leather would degrade with how long it might be in there.
Hmm,
And instead of saying like, but I'm not, I've seen so many photos of shoes that are like, oh, we found this abandoned house. No one's been here for 30, 40 years.
yeah,
And there's shoes in it and they kind of look, they look dusty, but
yeah, but
I'm not sure what
yeah,
yeah, what the degrading point of leather is.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, maybe scuff was just a shorthand for it.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I guess so from that point of view. All right, so according to the script, and again, this is a story and screenplay by Dan O'Bannon. This is the revision from October 1983, and it's based on a story and screenplay by John Russo, Rudy Rickey, and Russell Steiner. So we're just going to start off with a little bit of the previous minute and all that because the scene just carries across, sort of thing. So interior, Punk's car, night, rain. Um, so this is where it's a little different between the movie and the script. So I'm just going to read the sequence. Again, we're using names. Dee Dee is actually turns out to be trash later on, and the original script says the name of meat, and that is actually turns out to be Spider. So we'll just reread the whole entire conversation that goes on because some of it doesn't exist in the script that is in the final version. So Dee Dee, hey, my skin burns. Scuzz, me too. Casey, it's not that rain. It's like acid rain. Dee Dee, oh shit, it's all over me. A towel. Somebody give me a towel. Meat, ain't got no towel. Dee Dee, then give me your shirt. She tears it off him and begins to towel herself dry. Dee Dee continued, oh crap, I wonder what's in that rain. Cut to exterior cemetery, night, rain. Telephoto shot. To get a really compressed look, the dense cluster of gravestones with rain bouncing off them. Loud, stereophonic rain sounds. Cut to interior crematorium, night, rain. Outside the window, the rain is coming down in sheets, and lightning is flickering. The oven is crackling merrily. Ernie goes over and looks out the window. Ernie, look at it. It's coming down like a bastard. Cut to exterior, sky, night, rain. The clouds pouring down rain. Cut to exterior, cemetery, night, rain. Camera moves down to the ground where the rain is beginning to pool up. Camera sinks down into the ground, past tree roots, where we see the rainwater trickling down through beds of pebbles, trickling over stones. A chemical-laden water hisses as it sinks through the ground, filling the empty spaces in the ground with smoke and steam, causing a pebble to drop and clatter, wakening the earth, until the water reaches a coffin. The water pools on the lid of the coffin, eating a little air pocket in the dirt above the coffin. It begins to seep through the lid of the coffin. The rainwater drips through the corroded coffin lid and down into the coffin. Interior, coffin, night. Drip, drip, drip. Interior, crematorium, night, rain. Ernie's poking around the inside of the oven with a poker, while Bert peers anxiously over his shoulder. Bert, is the heart gun? Ernie, yep, all burnt out. Bert, are you sure? And that figures out our minute of the script portion.
In the script, they actually do refer to it as acid rain.
Mm-hmm,
and while you were going through it, I was like rewatching the clip because I'm like, I don't remember them actually saying it.
Well, actually, it's the previous minute where Casey says before, but like, so it's reconfigured around slightly the final film and the script version. She Trash talks about her skin burning, and then Dee Dee mentions acid rain, and then she decides she wants a towel to wipe herself off. Then Spider yells at her. Then in this minute she's trying to, where your minute started is where she's trying to take the cloth belt around off of her to dry herself off. So, but in the script version, she tears off Spider's shirt to dry herself with, which is like, okay, sure, that's
a little
I guess.
Extreme, but
yeah, exactly. But
I guess if you're worried about your skin peeling, it doesn't really matter how you stop it.
Yeah, exactly. I
guess.
Well, also the fact that Trash is able to take Spider's shirt off of him. That's the other thing. Especially when you figure out where they're sitting with.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're directly in front of, like, right parallel with each other. Like, they're both in the center of the back and the front seat. But, yeah, exactly. It seems a little.
Even just take, like, trying to switch a jacket or something while you're in a car is kind of awkward. And imagine having 3 people at the front, you're elbowing everyone in the face.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, like, how big was this imaginary script car?
Exactly. Well, obviously big enough to fit 6 people in it because the script does mention everyone is inside of it, but still. Yeah. So we now go to the work print comparison, which is the culmination of all the footage that is shot for the movie put into one giant version, which you then take and edit down to come to a final version. We are dealing with minute 39 to 40 for this particular minute, and in comparison, the actual time code on the work print is 44:38 going to 45:27. So mathematically, it's a little shorter because of the following. So missing the camera going down through the ground, following the rainwater as it drips onto the shoe, and it's all replaced by a single storyboard image before it cuts to Ernie raking the ashes. So the whole entire length of the sequence of following the water dripping down through the ground is just missing. So the length of that time is gone. So that's why the minute of our final movie is actually less than a minute in the work print, because they just don't have the added shot. Because it's obviously a lot of the stuff that we're discovering are like pickup shots, like the interior of the fire of the oven is not um, is not shown in the work print. There's like just a quick mention in a storyboard shot. So obviously pickup shots are later added in later. So that's why particular scenes turn out the way to be a tiny little bit shorter. So yeah. All right, so that brings us to the end of this particular minute. You got anything else you want to say about this minute here, Mr. Mitch?
No, I really enjoyed this minute because I think I've said this in the last one too. We are now continuing our roller coaster analogy from my last visit.
Yep.
We are about to be in free fall. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be zombie time. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be exciting for the
Yeah,
next
definitely. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rest of the series.
Yeah, no,
So
for
it's going to
sure.
be a
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
time.
It's going to be like
Oh,
a high octane. I'm pretty sure just having to describe each
yeah.
individual minute is going to get a lot more intense,
Oh, for
just because
sure.
of how chaotic everything gets. Like even the filming style picks up a little.
Yeah.
The edits become a lot quicker, a lot more. And now that the characters are coming together,
Yeah, more
well, will
pieces
be
of the
coming together,
puzzles
more
all coming
pieces. Yeah,
together.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, so it looks like we're like I said, we're, we're like you said, we're about to be in free fall. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great description of what is about to happen. Yeah.
I think my favorite shot of this minute was the pan down through the ground
Mm-hmm.
and just the slow pan and seeing the water drip through some of the
Mm-hmm.
cracks. Like I've seen it, we've seen that shot many times,
Yeah.
but it's always so satisfying and the
Mm-hmm.
build
Mm-hmm.
up because as the audience, we know what's down there. We know
Yeah.
what's gonna
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
but still seeing it is just it bit of a it just yeah, the anticipation is so good.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, also like the anticipation of following the water also
Yeah.
adds to it too. It adds like we know where obviously we're in a graveyard. We know what's below the ground and all that
Yeah.
sort of thing. But for us to actually be witness to what's actually happening, but that gives the audience the one up on everyone else in the movie because they have no idea what's happening yet.
Yes.
So this is the first point in the movie where the audience is ahead of the characters. Because up until this point, we're going along with the characters. We're discovering things as they're discovering it. We're like whatnot. So it's the first inkling to the audience of what's about to come. So we have more of a preparation of what's about to happen.
I'm forgetting there's a I can't remember what that term is. That the dramatic irony kind of thing? Because dramatic irony is when the audience knows something that the characters don't.
I'm not
Something
100% sure.
I'm not 100%. I might be just pulling something on my butt. Because I know an aside is talking directly to the audience, but the other
Yes.
characters don't know.
I'm not sure what it is.
It might not fully apply. I might be the I might be doing the it's ironic when it rains on a wedding day situation which I apologize to our listeners if that's literally what I'm
Yeah,
doing
I
right
may
now.
just edit that little part out.
Yeah, I did. Okay, I did describe it accurately. Yeah, dramatic irony occurs when the audience knows something the characters don't.
There
In the
you go.
classic myth of Oedipus, Oedipus leaves his family because it has been foretold that he will kill his father and marry his mother. Oedipus doesn't know, however, that he's adopted, but the audience does. For the top
Yep.
Google
Yeah.
non-AI
Yes, exactly.
result.
Skip that friggin' not that AI sequence and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Dramatic
okay, dramatic
irony.
eye is accurate for this representation. Yay! We're
Yay.
clapping for
College
ourselves, knowing
degree.
basic English concepts. Woo!
But it's like, oh, no, is it a dramatic irony? What is it?
Is
But no, it's dramatic irony. There you go. Excellent.
alluding to my self-deprecating joke is we are so aware of people using irony incorrectly, same
Yes.
as literally and as well as oh my God, there's another
Figuratively.
figuratively,
Yep.
that we are all aware that it doesn't mean what it actually says now, but
Yes,
actually
exactly.
getting it technically right is the best kind of right.
Yes, technically right is the best kind of right. Yes.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, no, I'm just gonna turn off my mic and like push away from the table now. I think I've done my job.
Mic drop
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
Is what
yeah.
Mitch is walking away from the podcast. All
Um,
right, so I want to thank you, Mitch, for joining me for this particular minute. Again, audience, thank you for joining me in this journey as well. And again, keep mentioning it. It's again nice to see numbers growing and all that sort of thing. YouTube is becoming a big source of listeners or viewers or however you want to work that around. Again,
make sure to get into the comments and correct our English
exactly. If
literature references and put in any grammatical errors, put in those comments.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. That's
yeah.
what basically I was going to do. Reach out to drop a comment in however version you're watching this, whether a podcast you're listening to, whatever YouTube you're watching it on. If there's something else you want to talk to us about, you can reach out to us through our email at planetgeekpod@gmail.com. We can carry on the conversation there, or maybe even eventually roll it into a future episode. I've had two or three of my previous guest hosts come in as comment leavers, which have sparked some pretty good episodes as well. We are still doing the Ko-Fi donations for our anniversary show. If you want to check our show notes for more information about that, we'd really appreciate any sort of help we can get to put this show on August 16th into the works. And again, thank you, Mitch. Thank you, audience. And I got nothing else to say, but see you next Wednesday. You've just been listening to a Planet Geek production of Do You Want to Party? A Movies by Minute podcast of the 1985 The Return of the Living Dead. Please be sure to subscribe, download, comment, share, rate, and review. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, or Letterboxd. Search for Planet Geek Productions. X, former Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Search for Planet Geek Pod. Or send us an email to planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Our closing music is provided by Night Chill. See the show notes for more details. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and farewell, fiends. And there we go. All
So that
right,
was my transition fingers.
there you go. There you go. Too
Yeah,
bad no
yeah.
one's gonna watch it.
Oh, but you saw it. And as
Yeah, I
long as
did see
one
it. Yes.
person,
Yeah, no, it works. It
yeah.
works. Yeah.
I always said, as long as one person gets your joke, that's enough.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Exactly. As long as it's not you yourself,
oh,
it's
even if I
to you.
laugh too, I'm kind of happy with that. I got a very low bar for my
There you go. There you
audience.
go.
As long as I am satisfied, that's not too bad. Anything else is a bonus.
Excellent. Excellent.
Um,
Let's see what happens when we ask Gogol when the audience
no, that's just
knows when the audience knows. Okay, I punched in when the audience, and one of the second response
oh,
is when the audience knows what the characters don't.
um, yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
yeah. We got our timelines down, just like those weeping angels. They're not going to send us back.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And live off of the potential potential energy. Is that
Something
what it
along
is? Yeah, I
those
think that's what it is.
lines.
They feed off of the potential energy of what could have been.
Yes.
They send you
Uh,
back in time and they feed off of the yeah, yes, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
future moments. And
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I so this is all completely off topic, but we're talking about this. When I was an international teacher for Halloween, I always showed the Blink episode of Doctor
Okay.
Who
Yeah, yeah.
because living in Korea, most people don't know what Doctor Who is.
Okay.
I terrified so many students as a teacher. I am very proud of that lesson. It was very good. And I made a lot of Doctor Who fans because of it.
Yeah, because I mean, unlike any others, like the Weeping Angel are a beautiful introduction of a new character.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to give the thanks to
Stephen Moffat.
Stephen Moffat for it, one of my least favorite writers of Doctor Who
Yeah,
stuff.
I
But
concur.
the fact that and the
Uh,
fact that he got the episode as basically he went, okay, I'll take the one without the Doctor in the episode, sort of thing.
yeah.
How the Doctor isn't a main character in this, and how he just w did this and
Yeah, he's
became,
the
yeah.
Doctor's more of a cryptid in this kind
Hmm.
of episode.
Exactly, exactly.
I Stephen Moffat's a great individual episode writer, terrible showrunner, just
Yes.
because there's no consequences. Because
No.
yes, the angels feed off your potential life energy, but they still had a full life.
Yeah,
You still
exactly,
got
exactly.
the policeman still got to see the beautiful woman,
Yeah, he did.
but
Yeah, yeah.
in his 70s or
Hmm.
60s. But regardless,
Yeah.
we're gonna wind back to the
Oh,
80s.
and technically, his life also ended when it rained, didn't it?
Which one?
The officer, he
Oh, yes, the officer. Yeah,
yes, he yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. It was raining out when he passed away.
Yeah.
I my mind went to the meme of sad David Tennant in the rain, and I'm like,
Oh
he
no.
didn't die in that
Yeah,
episode.
no,
That was
no.
later.
Yeah, I know.
That was a different kind of exposure.
All right, let's hop back into the movie, shall we?
I tried, but Doctor Who is just a yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.